Now it's time for TIPisodes with quick tips you should know. Techniques you can implement into your workflow right here on A Tale, oh yeah, A Tale of Two Hygienists.
Hello, this is Erika Flateau, RDH, with a TIPisode on Co-Diagnosing. So, at this point in my career, I'm feeling very confident and comfortable with co-diagnosing with my doctor. But at first, it was very intimidating. And as a new grad right out of dental hygiene school, I don't think I even realized it was something we could do. But after sitting in on exam after exam, I started to realize that this is something that I could really be a part of. Now, of course, ideally, we want to be in a practice where we really are able to be comfortable with the conservative versus aggressive nature of our doctor's diagnosing. And also, we want to be ideally in a practice where we believe in our doctor's work and we can support it wholeheartedly, and so much so that the quality is something we would recommend to a friend or family member. Now, if you can find this type of place to work, it's just such a wonderful situation because your co-diagnosing will be even easier. You're going to be able to speak effortlessly about something that you really truly believe in, and the process will be seamless. Now, something that I really find useful as a hygienist for co-diagnosing is first having some meetings with your doctor outside of patient time and really gaining their permission and the autonomy to speak on their behalf when they're not in the room. You really do become an extension of your doctor when you learn their philosophy and listen in to why and when they recommend something and when they don't. Now imagine being a doctor. You may have had a morning huddle with your team and your hygienist and gone over each patient and their outstanding treatment plans or what you may be recommending for their periodontal needs. But 4 hours into their day, when they've hopped from room to room, how amazing is it for your doctor to come into your operatory and have you help them focus in on your patient's primary needs that day and be able to be far more efficient and far more effective. Using the tools we have as a dental hygienist is the next step in co-diagnosing. Now, if your primary concern for that day is periodontal, you may have the perio chart with the red numbers and the bleeding points up on the monitor, or an image that's going to radiographically show calculus and bone loss. If the emphasis is on a restorative need that day, that's when I get out my intraoral camera and take a photo. Now, maybe let's say number 14 has an ancient, failing, corroded, old fractured amalgam with caries, and you take a photo and put it up on the monitor, that picture is going to be worth 1,000 words. Now, this is when I sit my patient up just a little bit and show them what I'm seeing. They're going to take one look at that chart, that x-ray, or that image that I've taken with the camera, and they're going to start to ask questions. And usually one of their first questions is, well, what can we do about this? And that is when you, the confident, comfortable co-diagnoser, is going to explain to them why we do a crown for this tooth and what the benefits are of going forward with the situation while it is controlled and not at the tooth's convenience, but at our convenience. This is when you get the opportunity to explain how your doctor's excellent work is going to take wonderful care of your patient. Now, in comes the doctor. It's time for the exam. Now, how wonderful for your doctor to look up and see the x-ray sitting there with bone loss or the intraoral photo with the failing restoration. That's going to give them their first clue as to what you may have been talking about during this visit. Is our primary concern perio today? They're going to support you with your recommendations of scaling and root planing. Is our primary concern taking care of that upper left quadrant restoratively? Well, let your doctor come in and have a conversation with the patient about the weather or the kids or vacation or whatever, but give that moment to them to connect. And then your doctor and you will agree on this, but then he or she is going to look at you and say, okay, Erika, how's it going today? Is there anything that I need to know? And that's when you're going to very confidently explain that the two of you have been looking at this photo together of number 14, and you really wanted to get his or her take on the situation. That is a very important part of co-diagnosing. It's called Co-Diagnosing for a reason. Our language that we use as hygienists is really important. So when we take that photo, we sit our patient up and we're explaining it to them and what we think the doctor is going to recommend. It's important to say, this is what I see, this is what I know, and if we choose to go forward with treating this tooth today, this is the procedure. However, we are going to have Dr. So-and-so come in and give us his or her opinion. This is an important distinction because you really know what's going on and you really have a pretty good idea about what your doctor is going to say and recommend, but you are not technically diagnosing. Also, say your doctor comes in and you have a beautiful photo of number 14, but the bite wings aren't due for another 6 months, and your doctor says, hey, that's clinically not looking that great, but I'd really love to see a new, fresh set of images at our next hygiene visit and just make sure what's going on around and in between those teeth. Now, because you've made this important distinction, it doesn't undermine your recommendations that you've been discussing during your appointment, and everyone's on the same page. Now, the more and more you practice this, the more you and your doctor will coincide as a force for good and health for your patients. And by the way, if you are able to co-diagnose with your doctor and improve the productivity and the efficiency of his or her practice, you will become even more so an asset to the practice. This is truly the definition of a win-win-win. The practice wins, the patient wins, and you as a hygienist with a day that is filled with comprehensive care for your patients definitely wins. Now, my name is Erika Flateau, RDH, and this has been a TIPisode on Co-Diagnosing. If you'd like to reach out to me, my website is renewconsultingservices.com, and my email is erikaflateau@gmail.com. That is erikaflateau@gmail.com. Have fun co-diagnosing. Thanks.
A tale of two hygienists.